Hello, back to another video. This time I'm doing another campaign video, and it's football related this time. It's Arsenal versus Man United 23/24 XI comparison. This is the main starting 11 which I believe they would have used if there was no injuries. Nobody cares about injuries, so we're using basically even injured players in the starting 11. Okay, I don't care. It's not a combined 11, just I'm comparing their main players, their starting 11. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and please leave a like. Moving on to the goalkeeper. Aaron Ramsdale for Arsenal versus Onana for United. Ramsdale is a really good keeper, and I believe he's an amazing shot stopper. Penalties, he could be better, but he's still a really good keeper. I believe Onana is not as good at shot stopping as Ramsdale, but he's a much better keeper with the ball at his feet. He can give much better passes. He's just much more risk taking. They both have different styles of playing, but I believe that as a functional goalkeeper, I think Ramsdale edges out Onana for this. Ramsey is also only 25, which is very young for a goalkeeper, so I believe he has a lot of potential. Moving on, the left back. Zinchenko for Arsenal versus Luke Shaw for Man United. Well, this is kind of simple. Luke Shaw is kind of getting old. He was very good in his prime, one of the best left backs, I believe, in the world. Yeah, like, he was one of the best players for England at the Euros. But right now, he's gone quite old. He's not as good as he used to be, and he's just not as good as he used to be. Whereas Zinchenko might have just come back from injury, but as you saw last season, Zinchenko was really good for Arsenal, and as he comes back, you can see how good he plays for them. He's a very risk-taking left back. He's inverted. He does everything properly. He's a decent defender. He's also really good at passes. He's a good dribbler, and he's overall a really good player. Even though I believe Luke Shaw is an amazing player too, I think Luke Shaw might edge him out a little bit in raw defending, but overall I believe Zinchenko is better by a little bit, by quite a bit actually. Sorry. Moving on to the first centre back, Ben White versus Rafael Varane. Gabriel is on the bench. Yeah, this is from the perspective of an Arsenal fan, by the way, and this is kind of simple. It's of course it's Varane. I don't even have to talk at this point. Varane is like one of the best centre backs in the world at this point. Ben White is an underrated player. He's actually quite decent. People like he's kind of overshadowed, I believe, by Saliba, but he's decent, but he's nowhere near the level of Varane. So simple one for me is Rafael Varane. Saliba versus Martinez. Tricky. So both were amazing last season, and at the moment, both also had decent starts to the season. I believe Saliba was really good for us against Crystal Palace, and he was average against Fulham, and he was decent. Yeah, he was decent against Forest, and he also pocketed Haaland in the Community Shield fund. He's one of the most talented young centre backs in the world. At 22, he's this good, shows that he can become one of the best centre backs in the world. Martinez quite old, but he's still a really good player. He's short, but he's surprisingly amazing at defending. Quite tricky, but based on the current form and their last season, I am gonna edge out Saliba for this. Horian Timber versus Van Bissaka. At the start of the season, they're starting Man United. Man United is starting Van Bissaka over Diego Dalot. Yeah. Even though as I said at the intro, this is not including injuries. So Timber is starting it. Otherwise Partey would. And we know what would happen. Wan Bissaka would be better than Partey because Partey just does not work for Arsenal in the right back position. I do not know what Arteta is doing. But Timber, you saw how good he is at the age of 22. He's amazing. Actually amazing. To be honest, I think we might have had a very good chance of winning the Premier League this season if Timber was here. I think we'll get top four this time, but I don't think we're gonna win this league. But Timber, you saw how good he was in the Community Shield final. The only reason why Palmer scored that goal was when he got substituted off and Tierney came on and he just slipped when Palmer scored. So, and Timber is just amazing. He play anywhere in the defensive plan. He's very versatile. I think he's just much better than Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka is also decent, but nowhere near the level of Timber. Next on the CDM, the new summer signing for us. Declan Rice versus Casemiro. I forgot to put the name over it. We don't talk about that. Well, let's be honest here. We all know, so you me. It's Casemiro. Now, I think Rice has potential. Maybe in the future to become better than him. Maybe. But right now it's Casemiro. He's just too experienced, amazing defense. Rice, honestly, is an amazing player for us. Against Crystal Palace, he was brilliant. To be honest, he was underrated against Fulham. He was also very good there. If he would have won the match, he would have been one of the best players for us that day. He's amazing. But I have to give it to Casemiro. He's one of the top three best DMs in the world, alongside Rodri, I believe. Next, these two, Havertz versus Mason Mount. Both of them have kind of flopped, yeah, kind of big, kind of. Both have been flopped. Now it's my turn to decide who's better. To be honest, if this was 2 years back, I would take Mount in a heartbeat. But I'm taking this not on basis of their prime or anything. I'm just taking them basis on the in the span of the last 1 year performance. And in the last year, both of them have not really been good. Uh, Mason Mount was injured for a lot last season for them. Havertz, he played as a striker, which did not work, and he only scored 7 goals in like 30 something games, which is very bad for a striker. Now, this season, to be honest, if I had to take one based on this season, I'm gonna be taking Kai Havertz. To be honest, Mason Mount just does nothing at this point. Like he's been a bigger flop than Kai Havertz at this point. Both have been bought for relatively the same price. Mount is just not working at this point for them. And Havertz, to be honest, he works hard when we do not have possession. He gets into good spaces, but he just cannot get the good finish. Like you saw in Forest and versus Palace, even against Fulham in the in the first 30 minutes, he made good runs. Was working hard when we didn't have possession, but he just made some shit passes, and he was also shit that game. I'm not saying it was good that game, but to be honest, I think Havertz has had a better start to the season than Mount. And Mason Mount is already injured. So, Odegaard versus Bruno Fernandes. Ooh, the two captains. Kind of tricky, to be honest. I think Fernandes is a better overall, like, he has more assists. I think he's a better playmaker, slightly. But I think Odegaard is a better, like, shooter. Like, Odegaard's an amazing shooter. Dribbling, I'm not completely sure. I've seen Odegaard dribble. He's a decent dribbler. I haven't seen much of Fernandes dribble though. I can't really say about that perspective. It's a hard one to be honest. Odegaard's 25, Fernandes 28. Fernandes is like in his prime. Like last season, I believe Odegaard was the highest goal scoring midfielder. Fernandes was, I think, one of the top assisters in the league, aside from De Bruyne. Uh, Tricky one. If I had to choose one based on their current performance in the span of the last year, I'll have to edge out. This is not in the prime, like or the career, the current performance. I'm going to take Odegaard. Not being biased here, just the current performance. Because Fernandes has not had the best start to the league. Both have scored one penalties. However, Odegaard seems a little more refined than him. Yeah, I mean, you might like Fernandes, and I respect that. Rashford versus Martinelli. Martinelli is great. He's an amazing player. He's very skillful. He's fast as heck, and he's a great dribbler. But Rashford last season just took some steroids, and like he's inconsistent. But when he's in his form, then nobody can stop him. So based on his last season, and both of them have not had a single goal yet. But based on their last season, I think I have to take Rashford for this one. Right winger, easy one. It's Saka. There are three people who could compete for the spot, and none of them just stand to Saka at this point. Let's see, Anthony. Come on, what can he do? He's a freaking fidget spinner. That's all he does at this point. Jaden Sancho, I think he's getting better. He's regaining some of his Dortmund form, but still nowhere near Saka. Garnacho has potential to be better than Saka, but maybe better than Saka. But at the moment, nah, not better. So well, the strikers: Gabriel Jesus versus Rasmus Højlund. Højlund, I mean, I can't really talk much about Hoyland as I've not seen him play much. Jesus has been injured for a square bit, but I don't think he's as good of a finisher as Hoyland, but he is a better like overall dribbler and all. Hard one to say, but as I've not seen much of Hoyland play, I would give it to Gabriel Jesus. If I see Hoyland play and he's good, then we'll have to give it to him. But at the moment, as I've not seen him play a lot, I'll give it to Gabriel Jesus. Please share your opinions in the comment sections. If there is a comment section, you never know. And please subscribe to my channel again, like the video. And according to me, at the moment, Arsenal squad might have a better chance if they use the correct plans and tactics. I think they have a good chance of beating United. And yeah, this is the end. Thanks for watching.